Good morning. Welcome to United First Parish Church. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, welcome to our Unitarian Universalist spiritual community. As we gather today, we acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Neponset Band of the Massachusetts tribe, a people who have lived here for generations and who live here now. And whether you are from the Quincy area or far away, welcome. Whether you are joining us in person or over live stream, welcome. Whether this is one of your first times with us or you have been here for months, years, or decades, welcome. A special welcome to any guests or visitors we have with us today. If this is one of your first times worshiping with us, we invite you to raise your hand up high so that we might greet you. And our ushers have a small token of welcome. Do we have any guests or visitors with us today? No pressure, but right here in the front row, we have some young visitors with us. Welcome. And guests, visitors, friends, members, you are all invited to join us following the service for coffee and refreshment in the parish hall. I'm the Rev Rebecca Froom, lead minister here at United First Parish Church. My pronouns are she and her. I look forward to greeting folks after the service. I'll be right over here to welcome you on your way to social hour. Our services are supported by a great team of staff and volunteers, so I thank Ilsa and Bill and Sharon and any other folks who stepped up to be greeters and ushers here in the sanctuary. Our live stream team this morning is Jordan Waterworth, and we are joined by our staff, David Bosquin, Norman Corey, and from across the pond in Scotland, our Director of Family Ministry, Nan Moore, has worked with me to craft this service. We strive to be a welcoming community to people of all ages and abilities. In the back of the sanctuary, you will find hearing assistance headsets, large print hymnals, as well as children's books and busy bags for children who want to bring those materials to the seats. And if you have any questions about how to navigate our building, you are welcome to speak with our ushers. Folks joining us online, we will be posting hymn lyrics and words in the chat as we go along. Thank you again, Jordan. And now, as we prepare ourselves for worship, let's take a deep breath together, feeling that spirit of life and love that moves within, between, and beyond us all. And I invite Marie-Louise forward to light our chalice while I attempt to play a recording of that Nan Moore made for our chalice lighting reading this morning.
Hello all at United First Parish Church. This is Nan Moore, Director of Family Ministry. Imbolc is an ancient celebration that originated in Ireland and Scotland. Today I'm sitting in the seat of the place of origin on the days right before Imbolc. I want to share this beautiful reading with you by Molly Rimmer. Prayer for Sacred Pauses. Goddess of the sacred pause, please grant me the courage to lay aside swiftness and take up slowness, to embrace limitations as learning, silence as stabilizing, waiting as worthy, and sitting as divine. Goddess of the sacred pause, help me to know stillness as strength, patience as powerful, and healing time as holy necessity.
I invite folks to rise as you're willing and able and join in reading our congregation's words of covenant found in the order of service. As a free fellowship of this historic church, we unite to lift our hearts and open our minds to a larger reality, to accept, support, and encourage one another, to seek the wisdom in all religions, to cherish and sustain the web of life, and to strive for justice, compassion, and peace. In this spirit of justice, compassion, and peace, we take time every Sunday to greet one another. So I invite you to turn and offer a smile or hand of hello or hand over the heart as we say welcome. And as we remain standing, I invite you to join me in singing hymn number 387 in our Singing the Living Tradition hymnal. This is a chant chosen by Nan, and it's new to me, and I imagine therefore most of you. So Norman's going to play it through once, and then we are going to sing it together 4 times. Beautiful. You may be seated. And I invite any children and youth and young at heart to come join me in these first pews on my right for our message for all ages. And Marie Louise, if you could come and assist me, I'd appreciate that. Now, I wonder what we have in our mystery basket this morning. Ooh, and I see that folks have ribbons, and that is one of the items, but it's not the only one. Who wants to see what's in here? Go for it, Ben. There's a piece of paper. Oh, what's that, Ben? A candle. Okay, what else do we have? We have, it's actually, it might look like a book. It's soap. Yeah, so one of you can grab that. And seeds. And then what's here? A ribbon. Awesome. And Julia, what's on that piece of paper? A photo, a picture. Can you tell what's in it? Birds and bees and a woman and a tree and a bird. We're going to learn more about all of these items in today's message for all ages, because these are all symbols of a holiday that Nan told us about in the chalice lighting, the holiday of Imbolc. Folks want to say that with me? Imbolc. I was proud of myself when I learned how to pronounce that. The Imbolc is a holiday grounded in the pagan, Celtic, and Gaelic traditions. traditions that honored and worshiped the earth and her changes for hundreds of years. And this celebration originated in Ireland and in Scotland, which is where Nan is right now. So she wrote to us to tell us about the symbols of this season. It's a time where we are honoring the gradual increase in light. It's a midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. So folks, hold on to your symbols because we're going to hold them up when we get to that part of the message, okay? Imbolc means in the belly, and it is a holiday that traditionally celebrated the pagan goddess of Brigid, a goddess of spring and growth and of life. So Julia, can you hold up that picture? Who do you think is in that picture? The goddess Brigid. It's a picture that Nan drew for us, so you can actually pass that around to your peers up here so they can see. Now, Nan tells us that as earth carers, as people who honor and cherish and sustain the web of life, we learn about the cycles of the earth and when to plant and when to harvest. Like in the fall, when we went to Holly Hill Farm to harvest vegetables. And in the spring, we're going to go back to that farm to help with the planting. So it's important as earth carers to pay attention to what's going on with the earth so we know how to care for the earth and be part of the rhythms of the earth. And in this holiday that celebrates this turning of the season, there are a few symbols. And one of them is seeds. Who has the seeds? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Viv. This is a time when folks are looking forward to the planting of seeds. It's not quite ready to plant seeds yet, but it's time to think about it and prepare for that and see the promise of spring. And now, who has the soap? Oh, yeah, soap. Because this is a season that is a time for clearing out and cleaning out and cleansing. Perhaps folks have heard of the tradition of spring cleaning. Yeah, so that is part of this season. And Nan tells us that traditionally folks used to take a wash in a stream or a river, but we can, if we're inspired by this part of the holiday, wash ourselves in the bath or the shower, any water we can find. And this is a time not just for cleaning, but for cleansing, a time to get rid of clutter in our lives or maybe in the ways we're thinking and we're feeling, and to refreshen our home. So that soap is also a soap that smells good because it's a time to not just get things clean, but to really feel refreshed and new. And then who has the candle? Oh yeah, the candle is one of the most important symbols of this holiday because it symbolizes the growing light. Has anyone noticed that there's more light? Right? Like maybe after school, does it stay light a little bit longer and you can play outside? This is a time of the year where we really start to notice that, and the candle reminds us. And now look at this picture. Has everyone looked at the picture? It's got bees in it and all sorts of different symbols of spring. And what is Brigid holding on her arms? Can anyone tell? What is she holding? It looks like a bird. She's holding a bird in her hand. What's on her arms? Leaves and ribbons. Yes. Now, Nan tells us that there is a tradition in the Celtic and Gaelic pagan tradition of hanging ribbons in this Imbolc season. And it can be a ribbon that is hung near a body of water or a well for that cleansing and renewal part of the holiday, or a ribbon that's hung on a tree for the growing part of the holiday, or a ribbon that we bring into our own homes to remind ourselves that spring is coming. And so this is a time where we celebrate trees, water, air, light, all these gifts that make living things grow and life possible. So Nan invites us that this week on Tuesday and Wednesday, when we have the holiday of Imbolc, that you can tie a ribbon on a tree or a place in your house to remind yourself that spring is coming and the world is growing. And today, you all are gonna go and have some time of singing and creative arts with Miss Elizabeth in your Spirit Circle program. So I invite us to sing our young people on their way. They're gonna walk up the aisle of the sanctuary, and I invite you to join in singing. The words are in your order of service. Through the sharing of our joys and our sorrows, we create a sacred space where we are deeply present with ourselves and with one another. This is a time for us to briefly but fully share the life milestones that lift our spirits in joy or hope, or the pains and losses that fill us with heartache. If you have a joy or a sorrow to share, in a moment I invite you to come forward, speak your name, and then share your joy or sorrow. Alternatively, you can raise your hand and Sharon will bring the microphone to you. And for folks joining us over Zoom, you can type your joys or sorrows in the chat and we'll have those read in the sanctuary. As we begin our sharing, we light a candle of joy, knowing that a joy shared is a joy magnified, and also a candle of sorrow, knowing that a sorrow shared is a burden lightened. Let us open our hearts to one another. As we end our sharing, we light a final candle representing all of those joys and all of those sorrows that we hold silently in the sanctuary of our hearts. May the light of these candles and the compassion of this community remind us that wherever we are on our journey, each of us is worthy of love, and each of us is able to love. Let's take a deep breath together, feeling anew that spirit of life and love that moves within, between, and beyond us all. Let's take a deep breath together, perhaps rolling our shoulders or feeling the ground beneath our feet, appreciating the gift of our beautiful, strong, vulnerable bodies. Let's take a deep breath together in the growing sunlight, appreciating the gift of this day as we enter a time of shared meditation. Will you lift your hearts and join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation, listening in these words for the language of faith most meaningful to you? Our prayer includes a seasonal prayer by Michael Tino. Eternal presence, known by many names, known in many ways, known as God, as Goddess, as Spirit of life, as that larger reality. We gather this morning to honor the days about to come, the days of growth, when the earth will wake up and send forth its abundance. In doing so, we need first to wake ourselves up to the winter that is around us, to frozen hearts that lack compassion, to the ice-coated conscience of our nation. We shake ourselves awake and begin our resistance to that which keeps us frozen in fear and helplessness. We open our hearts to all those people and communities around us who are in that place of fear or sorrow, all those who are struggling with their health in mind or body, all those who are grieving a recent loss or a loss that we remember this season, even if it was years ago. We open our hearts to the communities that are reeling from violence and injustice. We open our hearts to one another that we might find a way through to build that world of peace grounded in justice, of compassion grounded in love. There is so much of life that is part sorrow, part joy, part hope, so many transitions. And so we open our hearts to those starting new jobs, new schools, preparing to move. And we open our hearts to all those that arrive today with joy or hope. We celebrate births and birthdays. We celebrate the ways in which we connect and reconnect with our loved ones, the ways in which we affirm one another's goodness and celebrate one another's joys. Spirit of life, we come here to celebrate the beginning of a season of growth, understanding that we must plant the seeds of love and warm them in the sun until the garden is ready to grow them. May we plant these seeds of love together and harvest their fruit as a bounty available for all who are in need. We pray this for love's sake. Amen, and blessed be. As you remain seated, I invite you to join in singing "There is a Love." The words are in your order of service. Note that the first verse is about oneself, the word me, and the second is about the whole, saying the word us. So Norman will play the melody through once. He'll play the intro and the melody through once, and then we will sing together both of these verses as we continue to learn this meditative hymn. On the day of the winter solstice, about 6 weeks ago, I took a walk. Often I look at the winter solstice as the longest night and am aware of the beginning and the edges of the night and the day and how little light there is. But this year I took a winter solstice walk at the height of the day, on the shortest day of the year, and noticed in a new way not just the time that the sun rose and set, but where the sun was at the height of the day. It is not above us on the winter solstice. It's not even kind of halfway there. It's maybe like a third of the way above the horizon. The wheel of the year in the neo-pagan tradition marks the changing in the seasons and the cycles, especially the way that light changes. The wheel of the year is divided into 8 pieces: the equinoxes and the solstices, and also the cross-quarter holidays. And this is the time that we are in now, this midpoint between the solstice and the equinox that is known as Imbolc. And perhaps you yourself in the last week or so have noticed the sunlight. Perhaps how early it rises, how late it sets, or now that the rain has stopped, how bright it is at the height of the day. It was so bright this week that my transition sunglasses transitioned inside my house. The power of the sun. And what a gift it is to notice these transitional moments. These cross-quarter holidays are often a harbinger of the season yet to come. And so Imbolc is the harbinger of spring. The sun is halfway there, but it is still cold outside, at least some of the time. We heard in the message for all ages that Imbolc translates to in the belly. And this is an agrarian reference to the time where sheep begin lambing and lambs are growing in the belly. The beginning of the agricultural year. It's too early to plant, and yet growth is happening. Now, Imbolc is not a holiday frequently celebrated in our modern, urban, multi-religious, multicultural worlds. We don't really know all about its origins. There is some that we can learn from folklore, from oral tradition, from art, from archaeology. And there is some that we can learn about how these cross-quarter holidays were absorbed into and adapted to be part of the Christian wheel of the year in the early Middle Ages. Imbolc, this cross-quarter holiday associated with the goddess of Brigid, becomes St. Brigid's feast day, or Candlemas. And some of the traditions continue, especially the lighting of candles, the celebration of the light growing. And in the last century or so, there's been a movement to return to this pagan wheel of the year and create this neo-pagan culture marked by ritual and story and in awareness of these rhythms around us, even the subtle ones that are not the equinox or the solstice. This wheel of the year that has 8 sections rather than 4 offers us an interesting invitation for reflection. More than a month, less than a season, about 6, sometimes 7 weeks. If we look back a month or so to the turning of the secular year, On January 1st, in that Sunday's worship service, our ministerial intern, Michaela Hoffman, asked us, what do we want to retain from the year before, and what do we want to release? We hear that a lot in the secular celebration of New Year, the idea of resolutions or intentions. And now in this second half of winter, we have an opportunity to continue the work of self-reflection. Because in a circular reality, there is always a new beginning, always an opportunity to both release and to grow. We handed ribbons out as you came in, and they are in many colors. There is red and gold, a color associated with this season because it is the color of fire and the growing light. And we also handed out blue ribbons, representing the cleansing power of the season, that opportunity to go to the stream or the well or the shower or the bathtub and make oneself feel clean and refreshed, to clean the house, to remember the importance of clean water for the earth. So with blue, we have this celebration of water, of earth, of cleansing, of health and healing. Now, ribbons are used in Imbolc for a variety of reasons and in a variety of ways. There's some traditions of going to a well and a place to really connect to the sacredness of water, and to tie a ribbon on a tree near the well or the stream, showing the connection between the water and the trees, the water and the plants. There are also traditions of this Imbolc holiday of placing a ribbon outside one's home on the eve of the holiday, February 1st, so that the goddess Brigid might come and offer blessings of good health for the year. And there's a tradition of bringing those colorful ribbons into one's home and just decorating with color, getting ready for that abundance of spring and the resurgence of the earth. So today I invite you into a time of reflection inspired by Imbolc. We're not going to do a full-on ceremony today, but as a faith tradition that draws from many sources, world religions, earth-based traditions, we're going to be inspired by this idea of Imbolc. In the chalice lighting, Nan read a reading about the sacred pause. Winter is often a season of reflection where we slow down in earth and maybe even in life. And so the second half of winter is kind of this final opportunity to rest into the reflective season of winter without the busyness of the holiday season, perhaps having gotten beyond the post-busy tiredness of early January. So we're invited in these next 6 weeks to be in the sacred pause, this time of self-reflection and growth. So I invite folks to hold your ribbon and use that as a focus object during the musical reflection we'll have shortly. And I invite you to reflect on one of 3 themes from the season, because we need different kinds of reflection, each of us as individuals. The first invitation for reflection is to think about cleaning and cleansing and letting go. What do you need to clear out in your life to make space for growth? Maybe it's literally cleaning your house. Like if you still have Christmas wrapping paper, do not be ashamed, you are not alone. So maybe it's a time to literally clean your house, or to think about what you need to really work through. Perhaps putting down an addiction, a hurtful relationship, your own regrets. So what do we clean and let go of? That's one invitation for reflection. This is also a holiday of healing. One of the aspects of Brigid is as a goddess of healing. And we've talked about the healing power of water. So another invitation for reflection is to think about what needs healing in your life, in your own body, your heart, your relationships, the healing we need in society. What healing do you need in your life? And the third invitation for reflection is to think about growth. What is growing in your life? Perhaps you can return to that New Year's intention, this idea of what you wanted to bring into the year. Perhaps it's someone or something literally growing in your life, these birthdays, or maybe it's in the earth. What is growing in your life? So as we enter a time of musical meditation, let us ponder how we might clean and heal and grow at this turning point in the year. As we hold that ribbon in our hands and return our focus here to the sanctuary, hear this Imbolc poem by Unitarian Universalist minister Reverend Kendall Gibbons. Though winter winds yet blow and freeze, the sap is stirring in the trees. New lambs are bleating on the glen, and cubs now warm within their den. The fire in the forge ablaze proclaims the Lady Brigid's praise. Deep in her well the waters flow, and life bides safe in ground below. The plow and seed beside the hearth await the turning of the earth. So bless the candles that we bring, and hearts prepare to greet the spring. Our hearts prepare to greet the spring. It's 50 degrees outside today. I heard all sorts of birds singing, the grass is green. But on Tuesday, the day of Imbolc, it will be 32 degrees, showing that spring is coming but not here. February 2nd, you might notice, is also Groundhog Day. And this is the way that the cross-quarter holiday has made its way into our modern secular society. Kind of like how the cross-quarter day of Samhain has made its way into our society with Halloween. And Groundhog Day, they're saying spring will come early or spring will come in how many weeks? 6 weeks, getting us to the spring equinox. There is power in these cross-quarter holidays because they bear a promise. The seasons are at a transitional time, kind of going back and forth between fall and winter, winter and spring, spring and summer, summer and fall. Beltane on May 1st will carry the promise of summer. Samhain carries the promise of winter, and Imbolc this week carries the promise of spring. A reminder that growth is happening all around us, even though we are only getting glimpses, the days of 50 degrees, the days of sun. Outside, the garlic bulbs we planted in the fall are growing towards the sun. Animals are returning in the next phase of their migrations. And in our human lives, gardeners are ordering seeds. I now know that this is the time of year that parents register for summer camp, so it's also a promise of summer. The growing light reminds us that spring is on its way, even though the temperatures are still cold. In this time period, in this 6 weeks, the Earth will travel 73 million miles around the sun before the equinox. How will you spend this next 6 weeks in the wheel of the year? May the ribbons that we have held today, as we reflected on growth and healing and cleansing, remind us that this is a time for reflection. May we tie the ribbons to trees or light candles in our house. May we plant seeds as we circle the sun, as we grow towards the sun, as we welcome health and healing into our lives and the lives of our planet. May it be so. Amen. Our next hymn is number 61, Lo, the Earth Awakes Again. We'll sing this tune again with different words on Easter, but here we have a poem that has inspired this song. Let's rise in body or spirit. Be seated.
We drink from wells we did not dig, and we worship in a sanctuary we did not build. As a voluntary association, our church is sustained through the gifts of the members and friends of our congregation. I'm Marie-Louise Jackson Miller. I have many roles in the congregation, including being on the Religious Education Committee. Your generosity supports our Spirit Circle Lifespan Religious Education program, our worship services that bring meaning to people of all ages, our programs for children who are growing in mind, body, and spirit, our programs for adults, since our spiritual growth is a lifelong journey. And your generosity supports the ways we build multi-generational community so that we might together strive for that world of justice, compassion, equity, and peace. You can give online by going to ufpc.org and clicking on the donate button. If this is your first time worshiping with us, please let the offering plate pass you by. Your presence here today is your gift to us, and we hope you will join us following the service for our social hour. May the ushers come forward for the morning offering to support the good works of United First Parish Church. May it be joyfully given. Know that it will be gratefully received.
We gather in many ways as a faith community. You can read about our ongoing and upcoming programs in the order of service insert, which is also emailed to the congregation. Note that for today, there is going to be no spirit circle for adults after church. It was going to be on singing, but unfortunately, we aren't able to do it today. But we do the Spirit Circle programs for adults, one topic each month. So we'll have more singing after church one Sunday in February, and of course, during church every Sunday. This afternoon at 12:15, I'm facilitating a Pathway to Membership class, part 2. So folks who are feeling new-ish are welcome to come to that. Doesn't matter if you came to part 1 or not, they're slightly different topics. So you can join me in the parlor, which is the room on the stage. And looking ahead, please save the date for our upcoming fundraisers. In the before times, we had a single evening fundraiser with like so many good things in it. And this year, we're experimenting with a different way. So on Sunday, February 12th at 12 p.m., we are having our Light Our Fire luncheon with chili cook-off and chocolate celebration. So that's a time to do live bidding for chocolate goodies for Valentine's Day or any day. So you can read more about that in the order of service. And I believe, Marie-Louise, do we have a sign-up table? There's a sign-up table for if you want to bring in chili, and also talk with folks on that planning committee about that upcoming event. And then later in spring, at the end of March, once we've passed the equinox, we'll have an evening spring fling celebration with more music and more great things to bid on and more yummy food. So February 12th for Light Our Fire luncheon, and more information to come for the spring fling in March. Now I invite folks to rise as you're willing and able, and place your hands over your heart for our benediction. The words of our benediction are by Andrew Pakula. May you know fully and deeply the blessing of each of your heart's seasons, the inward turning of winter, springtime's lush renewal, the effortless steady growth of summer, and autumn's rich harvest. May your passage from season to season be blessed, eased by hands to hold, and by light of love to guide you. May we go in peace and go in love to be a blessing to the world. And please join me in singing our chalice extinguishing song. I invite you to turn to the center aisle so that you might offer one another this shared benediction. Blessed be.